Is it filming? Yeah. Oh my god, my eyeballs. Hey YouTube, it's me Zara. Oh my god, my eyes. My eyes are really sensitive at the moment. So I think I'm going to be blinking a lot in this video. I've closed my blinds. I need to... I was not in the centre now. Okay. My eyes are really sensitive, so I think I'm just going to blink. But hello. I'm talking quiet because my son's asleep. Oops, spoiler alert. I had a little son. He's so beautiful. Here's a photo. He's so beautiful. I can't. But yeah, I thought I'd go through my experience with pregnancy. Oh yes, I have green at the ends of my hair now. Did it myself. So how I found out I was pregnant was interesting. So to give a bit of backstory, in March last year, 2019, I had a gallbladder attack and was hospitalised for like just under a week. So then from there, I was thrown up once or twice a week, usually twice a week, the entire time. I got pregnant in, well, I know the conception date, it's the 18th of May. So yeah, I got pregnant then, like 2 months after my gallbladder, so I didn't notice, I didn't feel the sickness was anything but my gallbladder, but so what happened was, I was thrown up as usual. My brother was waiting to go to the toilet in the morning, and it was like, oh, what if you're pregnant? And I was like, oh, not gonna happen. Not happened. And now I'm thinking like, when was my last period? Maybe I should check that out, but no rush, do you know what I mean? So then like a few days later, maybe a week later, I was thrown up again. I remember my brother made that comment and I was like, my boobs hurt. And I was like, uh-oh, maybe I am pregnant. I better get a pregnancy test. Then I was trying to get a pregnancy test on the sly so that like, because I live in a small village, so like, I feel like people might figure out before I even know. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to like buy a pregnancy test slyly, not in my village. So the next time I went out of my village, which was like a week later, because it was when I was handing back my keys or something, or something along those lines. It was like nearly July. Or it was July. I can't remember. Oh, hey Dwight. You're right, babe. Dwight's just been a cutie. What are you doing? Dwight! What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, I got a pregnancy test and I was like, yeah, I was in my old flat and I was peeing on the stick and I was like, oh man. So I set the timer for 2 minutes and I looked at it after the 2 minutes and I was like, I'm pregnant. And I just paced back and forth because I was just shocked and like all the emotions in the world came to me. I was like, oh my god, like this isn't real. I kept looking at it and it wasn't real. So I called, oh yeah, a couple of days before this, before I went and got the pregnancy test, I was like, I went to the guy who was the dad, like, think I might be pregnant and I'm freaking out and I don't want to talk to anyone about it, but like, I'm freaking out and yeah, I don't want anyone to know that we slept together, so like, if I'm not pregnant, I'm not sure that I told him that, but I didn't, because things were like, I wasn't fully sold on me and him. I was wanting to like introduce him back into the friend group to see if like she would be different, because he's my ex-boyfriend from like 10 years ago, literally. I was 18. So, well, I hadn't spoken for a long time, so like no judgment. I thought that like he'd changed, but you know, he hadn't. Standard. So I thought I was pregnant and I found out I was pregnant, so I called him and I was like, I did the pregnancy test and it was positive. And I was like just so shocked. And I felt like deep in my gut that I wanted to keep the little bubba that turned out to be my son. But I was like, I need to like calm down, like chill out, think logically about it, consider all my options and decide. Which is what I did ultimately. So I went and spoke to him, and that was a whole episode in itself, which I don't want to talk about. And I told my best friend, and she like nearly died, like not literally, but she like nearly had a panic attack, or she did have a panic attack, but she was freaking out, like, what the fuck, Zara, what are you doing? Who's the dad? Like, what? So I hadn't been telling anyone that I was like sort of seeing this guy, but you know, it didn't work out, obviously, for like personal reasons I don't really want to go into. So anyway, yeah. So I was pregnant, and I was going to the doctors that day anyway, because I thought I'd pulled a muscle. No, I didn't. I thought I'd... What did I think I'd do? I thought I'd hurt myself. And they were like, now you've pulled a muscle. I was like, oh, well, also, I just took a pregnancy test and I'm pregnant. And they're like, do you know what you want to do? I'm like, no, I just found out like an hour ago. I'm freaking out. But yeah. So I took a few days and like thought about what I wanted to do. Looked at all the options like adoption, abortion, or keeping him. And obviously I decided to keep him because ultimately I love him. I loved my little bean before I even knew he was a he, and before he came into this world. Like, yeah, I just loved him, and I was just like, logically, it had been better for my life to not have him when I had him. But I was like, I can delay like uni till another time, and life will work out. Like, life will work out. Like, I'll figure it out. I'm a determined, ambitious person. I'll work it out. So that's what I did. Still doing. Still working life out. So during pregnancy, I had the classic emotionality. I don't know. I was emotional a lot. I was also very angry for the first, like, I don't know. I was angry for probably like 2 months. Like, yeah. I was really like mean to my brother, but he didn't think like she's a pregnant woman, just like don't fucking talk to her and she'll shut the fuck up. Like, no. He argued back, so we argued a bit. Like, the entire time I was pregnant, my sleep was so disturbed, it was awful. Everyone was saying to me how, oh, getting your sleep now, because afterwards you'll get no sleep, and I sleep way better now. Obviously the first few weeks of giving birth was not, but that's a whole different video. One awful side effect I had was obviously nausea and throwing up. Like, I threw up nearly every day from about 14 weeks until the day I gave birth. Like, that was brutal. That was like, if I could get rid of one symptom, that was it. It was throwing up. Nausea I can get over. I just have some crisps. Like, that's it. But when I was throwing up all the time, I would just draw. Oh, God, like my actual body, like not the pregnancy stuff. Like, I actually lost weight. When I got weighed, when did they weigh me? My sleep apnea doctors weighed me about halfway through, just over. And no, it was in November they weighed me, so I was well over halfway. I gave birth early, which I'll go into later. I got pregnant in May, obviously. So yeah, I was over halfway, and I was like, I've not gained weight the entire pregnancy. That's amazing. So like, I'd lost weight, and all the weight was baby weight. But yeah, besides the throwing up and the nausea, I also had this metallic taste in my mouth. Just one day, I was like, please don't come back again. And it was so disgusting, this metallic taste in my mouth. I actually went to the toilet because I thought I was going to throw up. It was awful. Obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I had no periods at all. I didn't spot, nothing, like, no. Yeah. I have weird periods anyway. I probably go like 2 months between periods, so it wasn't a big concern, which is another reason why I didn't know I was pregnant. Oh, one thing, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, the doctor gave me vitamin D, calcium. I obviously don't know the doses. I took folic acid, and then I took extra folic acid. So there was a lot of tablets. I did not know there was so many tablets that you take when you're pregnant. I knew nothing. I mean, I knew basics. But yeah, it was a lot of tablets. Obviously, I was just exhausted the entire pregnancy. The last like month, I was like so tired and so ready for him to come, but also I was like not ready because it was just me, and I was like sorting everything out, and obviously I had help from family and friends, but like it was hard. Around halfway through, for about a month and a half, I had restless leg syndrome. Every time I went to bed, I was just shaking my leg. I couldn't just stop shaking my legs. Sometimes both, sometimes one, sometimes other. Yeah, that also disturbed my sleep, which was beautiful. Dwight, what are you doing, baby boy? Hey? For those who don't know, I don't know if I've even mentioned it, I probably might have mentioned it in passing, I have an underactive thyroid, and so I had to see an endocrine doctor, or doctors, because I saw multiple, and they were just constantly, every 4 weeks, up in my thyroid, and then halfway through it stabilised, finally. One thing I had to do straight away was limit my caffeine intake, because I was drinking a lot of caffeine. Coffee, Monster, not Monster that much, but coffee mostly, and tea, like Pepsi Max, like, yeah. I ultimately drink less now, which is probably better for my health, let's face it, because an overconsumption of caffeine, which I was definitely over-consuming, is not the best. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. One thing that I did worry about was, obviously I'm going to get to the positives later on. I'm going to do the negatives out of the way and then end on a positive, by the way, I forgot to mention that. One thing that I was worrying about was if I was going to be a good mum. I cried regularly because I was like, what if I'm going to be a bad mum? I want to be such a good mum. I was really scared and worried and anxious. There was another thing. When I decided I was keeping little Bubba, they were like, you're not taking your antidepressants anymore. And I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool. So that was brutal for my mental health, which I already going through a rough time because of the dad. Which I won't get into, obviously. Yeah. See, I was depression, anxious, extra bad the entire pregnancy, which made my worrying about being a good mum worse, I think. And I did my own research, because I heard someone who was like, oh, I still took mine. And I was like, the doctor made me stop. And I did my own research, and basically, from my interpretation, and I looked at a lot of studies online, it's more impactful in the third trimester. So if you're taking them, it's better to wean off them in the second or third trimester. And personally, I would have personally chose to stay on until I started weaning from the third trimester. I would have been not taking them. I wasn't on a particular high dose anyway, but yeah, I could have taken them longer, well, an entire trimester, and that would have helped my mental health and the pregnancy as a whole, because I'm very irritable, which would have put into the moodiness worse, so it was just making everything worse. I'd also get an occasional migraine, a lot more regular. I'd usually have them a few times a year, and I was having them quite regularly for a little bit, which just means that my hormones were messing about, which is why and when I get migraines. So about halfway through, I noticed my nipples got darker and more sensitive, but not super sensitive, but it weren't pleasant. But yeah, they were so dark, and the areolas were bigger, and I was like, I knew that happened, but it was just weird to see. I was having blood tests every now and then, and on the first lot of blood tests I did, it came back that I had low iron, so I was started taking, but it wasn't my iron wasn't low, my iron stores were low, so I started taking an iron supplement, and it was fine. I think I only had to take it once a day, was it? I'm not sure. About a month before I gave birth, I had Braxton Hicks. I shit myself. I thought I was going into labour. I was like, no. And they were so much worse than labour pains and contractions, which I'll get into in another video, because that's a whole video in itself. But yes, it was very painful. I was I think my photo frame just fell off the wall. Awesome. So I also had the flu and whooping cough vaccine at the same time. And I remember they did this arm, and I screamed. I screamed in pain because she did it and I was like, ah! I literally screamed look, just a little one. Just a little one. But it was not nice. And then the whooping cough, she was more gentle. I was like, thanks, bitch. I call everyone a bitch, it's fine. She was obviously doing her job. For an entire month in December, I had an upper respiratory tract infection, and I was off work the entire month. I I was out. I was just, I was so poorly. I got better two shifts before my maternity leave started. Like I got better like a couple of days after like Christmas Day. Yeah. So Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then like a day or two after that I was like ready to go back to work. I went back to work Monday, Tuesday, and then I was off on maternity leave. So yeah, that was interesting. I was like so out of it. I thought she said I had the flu. I was like, I think I have the flu. And I don't remember what she said, but I was so out of it. I didn't know that she said that I don't have the flu. I have an upper respiratory tract infection. So that was fun. I was like, why is it taking so long for me to get better? Hey Dwight, my little angel boy. On Christmas Day, I took Dwight for a walk in some marshes like over there near my house. Oh yeah, I moved during that time, which I think I mentioned in another video, but if you didn't know, I moved while I was pregnant. I did pack some of my stuff is still there. I ain't even fully unpacked here, like it's something I'm trying to do. So yeah, on Christmas Day I walked in some like marshes and I didn't think, Zara, it's winter, it's gonna be a bit wet, it's gonna be a bit nasty, like maybe don't go that route. Anyway, I went, not thinking, and Dwight run around a bush. And I was like, oh, I'll just walk around it. And then Dwight ran around the bush and got stuck in the bush. So I was trying to undo his lead, and then I fell into the bush because he was pulling. And yeah, I run back out. It was ripped up. It was a thorn bush. So I like cried a little bit. And went home, and then I went up to my mum's for Christmas dinner. And I was like, I got stuck in a bush. I remember I got tested for pregnancy diabetes, so like took some blood from me I think, and then I had to drink this disgusting sugary sweet drink, and I think they took my bloods again. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. But yeah, I didn't get like pregnancy diabetes, so we're good. I had an anaesthetist, I can't say that word, appointment in, was it November? I think it was November, maybe the end of November, I can't remember. But I had one of those appointments and she was like, well, oh yeah, if you don't know, I have sleep apnea, so I stop breathing when I'm asleep. Yeah, only for like, 15 seconds or 10, 50 seconds-ish. But like a lot, it's quite severe. But it's got better as I've lost weight, and yeah. It gets worse during pregnancy. And obviously when you have disturbed sleep, it makes your sleep horrible. Awesome. So, I had the anaesthetist appointment, and she was like, we're not giving you any opioids. What do you think about all the other drugs that you can have? And I was like, I'll try gas in air if I want gas in air, and I want an epidural. And she was like, that's cool, that's all you can have. And I was like, cool. Oh, and I could have paracetamol, but you're not allowed ibuprofen when you're pregnant? Yeah. So I could have paracetamol and that was it. And I was like, cool. Didn't really want, well, I probably would have had morphine and stuff if I could. Well, it was like dimorphine and something else. The opiates anyway. And they prefer not to give like sleep apnea people opioids, especially if they have to have an emergency surgery or anything like that. So yeah. So I went for an antenatal class with my mum, and she was like, she was just about to get diagnosed with sleep apnea, or she'd been diagnosed with sleep apnea. She has sleep apnea, so she got like her machine a few weeks after this. Yeah, like maybe a month after. Yeah, about a month after. It was like the week before I had my son. So yeah, it was fun. It was funny. I was like the youngest there. I was like, I'm a little baby. You're all having babies. I'm having a baby. And I'm a baby. My mum came with me, and everyone else was a couple, except this one woman brought her like sister or something. I assume it was a sister. They looked related, so it could be cousins. I don't know. But yeah, it was a nice day. I learnt a lot. I like cried after. They made us like change a baby's nappy and give the baby a bath, and they like played like babies crying in the background, and that I like went home. I think even in the car I might have cried because I was like, I can't wash my baby. They're so little and delicate. I don't like it. It was really hard. They gave me like a really tough like sleep suit or vest or something to take off. And they're like, oh, we'll give you the hardest one. Or like, I've never changed a nappy in my life. Why would you do this? But no, obviously it went on purpose. But it was interesting. It was very informative, obviously. But yeah, like, besides my antenatal class, no one ever really, like, none of the midwives or the doctors, like, told me much about anything. And I was like, I had like an app and stuff, but I was like, there's not, like, I want to make sure I read reliable sources, so on my scans, I think I had 12, 20, 24, 28, 29 week scans. So I only had 2 4D scans. So I'll talk about those first. So I went for a 4D scan and he was just like, no, I don't want to shower. And he was just curled up. He was like nestled into like the back of my womb so they couldn't separate him and me. And like, obviously, you know, technology is technology, you know what I mean? And I think that, the first week we went and had some food and a fizzy drink, and I like moved around, jumped around a bit to try and get him to show himself. I didn't know he was a boy at this point. And then I had my second one, what was it, 2 weeks later? Something like that. And they were like, the images are not going to be any better. So I chose like photos to print out, and they sent me all the photos and videos and stuff. And it was really sweet. But yeah, they gave us like a discount off of the scan because like the photos were like not that good. Like we got like, in my opinion, one good photo that I really like, and that's it. So yeah, that was that. It was really, it's like the like main good thing about the only good thing I enjoyed about being pregnant was seeing him in the scans. And like at my, was it my 24 week scan? Yeah, I think on my 24th week scan, I was looking at the scan and I was like, is that a little peen? That looks like a little peen. That might be a little peen. Oh, like, I might be having a boy. And then my second 4 week scan, no, my second 4D scan, I was like, he looks like his dad. So I want to know if he's a boy or a girl. And obviously he's a boy. And I was like, is that a peen? And they're like, yeah, that's a peen. I'm like, his balls are so big. So, like, intense. So at my, what week was it? I think my 24th week scan, I went and they were like, oh, his weight is not his weight. His growth has dropped off a bit, so I guess it's weight, yeah. So I want to see you again in a month. Because I think it would have been like 6 weeks or something after that, I don't know. But I went a month later and they were like, we want to see you next week. And I was like, oh. Because his growth had like dropped off again. And they were like saying like potentially we'll induce you early, but preferably would get you to 38 weeks. I was like, okay, cool. So I was freaking out, like trying to get everything ready. I was not ready. Anyway, the week later I went and his growth had dropped off again. So they're like, we want to see, this was a Wednesday, we want to see you Friday, Monday and Wednesday, and then we'll assess again if we're gonna, obviously depending on each scan, if we're gonna induce you. And I was like a bit upset and stressed out and stuff, so I was like, I'm not ready. Anyway, they did my blood pressure and I peed in a thing, and they were like, your blood pressure is really high. And I'm like, I'm really stressed right now and upset, so that's probably why. So I've got to wait. And they were waiting for my pee to come back. So they were like, oh, we'll just test you again after your pee has come back. Anyway, they tested me again and they were like, your blood pressure is still high. And your pee has come back. You have 300 plus proteins in your urine. And I was like, ow. And some of them like protein markers or something were off. I think there was like 2 protein markers. I'm not really sure. I can't remember now. It was a while ago. So, yes, I got admitted. And that's a whole story in itself. So I'm going to do another video, so I've been recording for like 27 minutes now, well, nearly 28, about giving birth to my son, and he's called Cassandra. He's so beautiful. He's growing so fast. He's like 25 weeks. No, he's not. He's 15 weeks tomorrow, I think. Today is Thursday, right? I think it's the 7th. Yeah. Of May, by the way. Is there anything else? I think that's everything. Like, my best friend, my mum, my dad have been amazing for the entire pregnancy, and I hated being pregnant. And one other thing I forgot. He would regularly just like jump up and down on my cervix. And it was really painful. Sometimes he had nice little kicks, but most of the time it was like I was like, and he was like on calls sometimes at work, and I was like, no. It was like holding in tears, cause sometimes it was really painful. Oh yeah. So I didn't feel that many kicks. Also, my placenta was like at the front of my wound, like on the outer bit of my belly. So I didn't feel that many kicks, but there weren't. I felt kicks. I felt them regularly throughout the day, but they weren't like as powerful as other things. I don't know. Maybe that's why you like hit on my cervix all the time. She's like, I want attention, mummy. Yeah. So that was my pregnancy experience. Did I even introduce this video? I don't remember. But if I didn't, this is my pregnancy story. Journey, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, let me know, like, I hope I've not forgotten anything. I forget everything all the time. And sorry that I have no eyebrows. It's quarantine. So yeah, before I go, I just want to say thank you to the NHS and all the key workers and everyone who's keeping this country afloat. Like, I'm high risk, so it's like really scary, especially as I've got a newborn, and there's obviously more vulnerable people, and it's awful what's happening to the people that it's affecting, and their family and friends and loved ones, and yeah, I just hope that we're in lockdown as long as we need to be in, and there's no second spike, and we're all cool, and then we're not all cool, but we get on it the other side, because that's all we can hope for. Yeah. So, bye YouTube.